Well, folks, today is in fact Good Friday. But you know who's not having a good Friday? MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell.
In this video, Farron Cousins of his channel Farron Balanced talks about Mike Lindell, aka Mike Pillow, and his legal woes with a measure of glee. I've not done Farron Cousins stuff before. I think it was interesting. I'm going to share this one with you. I'll have opinions as we go. I'm no fan of Mike Lindell. I think Mike Pillow is a joke, and I hope he gets what's coming to him. I will have other opinions to add, and then I want to know what you think in the comments, but let's check it out with Farron.
See, Mike Lindell had to go in front of a judge this week to give an answer as to why he has not paid the nearly $50,000 in sanctions that the court has put against him. So, before I get into what Mike Lindell told the judge about why he's not paying, let me explain to you what happened. This case is regarding the Smartmatic defamation lawsuit against Mike Lindell. It's been pending for God knows how long, like 4.5 years now. Shocking to me that it has not gone to trial. It actually pisses me off that it hasn't gone to trial. We should have had this resolved years ago. But anyway, after Smartmatic sued him, he filed a countersuit. And the judge immediately dismissed that and then issued sanctions against him for filing a knowingly fictitious and frivolous lawsuit. Multiple sanctions over time. He was held in contempt at one point for not turning over documents. So he was fined $50,000 by the court. So Smartmatic, knowing that he hadn't paid that money, had gone to the courts and said, "Judge, he's not doing what you've literally ordered him to do. Can we do something about this? You know, can't just institute a punishment and not enforce it." And that led us to this week's hearing. So in this week's hearing, the judge did ask Lindell, like, "Hey, bud, got a $50,000 tab over here. You gonna pay it?" And Mike, I love how I just break these down into like it's a casual conversation. That brings me joy. Then Mike Lindell tells the judge that he and his company have a combined $70 million in debt, and the IRS is garnishing me. Nobody will borrow me anymore. Not one dime. I'm in ruins. Nobody will borrow me anymore. I think he means nobody will lend him money anymore, which of course is something we have talked about. Banks are looking at him and they're like, "Yeah, you're a little risky, bud." So he's admitting he has no money, and he says he is in ruins. The IRS is garnishing his wages. That's an interesting thing. That is not something I had heard of. Maybe it's a story I missed, or maybe he accidentally let something slip. The IRS doesn't garnish your wages unless you're not paying taxes, and you get busted for that. So that kind of seems like another wrinkle to this story that we need an explanation for. But then Lindell told the court that he's living off of just $1,000 a week. "I don't have $5,000 or 5 cents, he said. He doesn't have a nickel. "I can't pay the $50,000 in sanctions because I don't even have 5,000. I don't even have 5 cents. I have $1,000 a week." Okay, well, it seems to me then like you need to be saving up all that money for 50 weeks so you can pay the $50,000, right? The math on that is pretty easy, Mike. You should know what you have to do. This is a guy who had admitted openly during interviews, during his own Frank TV stuff, that he was spending millions and millions of dollars investigating voter fraud, right? I think the number at one point was 40 million. He had said 20 million before that. So he's spent, at least according to him, tens of millions of dollars investigating something that doesn't exist. And yet he's never fully explained what he spent the money on, right? Like, how do you spend $20 million investigating something that doesn't exist? You're not having to go out and buy all sorts of fancy equipment that's costing you millions of dollars. So where did that money actually go? And also, let's not forget that this is obviously an admission that the MyPillow company is doing horribly.
I also think this is an example of a double standard that runs very deep in our justice system. If you have money, if you're a white guy, even if you are a moron like Mike Lindell, you can delay, you get grace, you can stretch things out, you can find other ways to kind of buy time and get through it, right? If you're poor, if you're a person of color, right? If you don't get the same grace, you don't have the same opportunities. The legal system does not apply equally to everybody. And, Mike Lindell is a flagrantly corrupt dude.
If he's only pulling in $1,000 a week, that company is going to go under. If what he says is true, then it is an indication that MyPillow is headed straight towards bankruptcy. But the judge feels like I feel. So the judge ordered Mike Lindell, unfortunately under seal, to submit all of his financial documents. Show me where the money is. Show me what you've spent. Show me what you have. Show me what you bring in. Show me this IRS garnishing you're getting. But again, it's under seal, so we're not going to get to see that, at least not right now. Perhaps we will in the future. But again, very weird. Things are now going to get very bad for Mike Lindell. Either it's going to be revealed that he truly is completely broke, or that he's lying to the court and he still has all his money, he's just refusing to pay. That's going to be the worst case scenario for him if he's not telling the truth.
Oh, if Mike Lindell isn't telling the truth, you say?
But I will say this. You can go back and look at videos I did 2-3 years ago where I talked about the fact that because these lawsuits had been filed and because Lindell was admitting, I'm spending $5 million a month on this, I said then that the courts should have frozen his assets. They had the power to do it. They had the reason to do it. They didn't do it. And now he's like, I'm broke. Can't pay anybody. I told you. I absolutely told you what to do. But this is the situation we're in now. And this also raises other questions. If Mike Lindell is in fact broke, his company's in $70 million of debt, he says, then how is he going to be able to pay the hundreds of millions of dollars that Smartmatic and Dominion are going to win against him? Either through a settlement or through a jury verdict, he is going to end up owing these people hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, there's just no way around that. It's going to happen. So what happens when they win and he can't pay? That's when the asset seizure starts. And because MyPillow is not a publicly traded company, it is in fact a sole proprietorship, it seems, they're going to own the company. That is the way I see this ending. And by the way, I've been saying that for several years as well. Eventually, we're going to see MyPillow by Smartmatic and Dominion. Dominion Pillow. Smartmatic Pillow. Smart Pillow. Hey, there you go. I just came up with a new name for you. Either way, they're going to end up with that company. And Lindell is going to end up with absolutely nothing.
And Mike Lindell would deserve it. Maybe I'm just being cynical, but again and again and again, you see these people somehow get off the hook. I personally would love to see justice served. Let me know what you think in the comments.